Thank you, Joe. It's time to go.
Tonight, calls on President Biden to drop out of the 2024 race, extending beyond Capitol Hill.
We are ready to unite behind a new nominee.
Biden is losing.
Protesters at the White House today
When we fight, we win.
urging the president to pass the torch. As NBC News learns that Mr. Biden's allies are warning party leaders that efforts to push him out are undemocratic, all while he continues recovering from COVID at his Rehoboth Beach, Delaware home. New tonight, sources telling NBC News Bill and Hillary Clinton are privately supporting Mr. Biden's repeated vow to stay in the race. While two people familiar with former President Obama's thinking say he has concerns about his former vice president's candidacy. All of this as sources familiar with the Biden family's conversations tell NBC News there are ongoing discussions about what the president's exit might look like if he were to drop out. The divide among Democrats only widening as more than 30 lawmakers call on the president to step aside without agreeing on a replacement.
If President Biden decides to step back, we have Vice President Kamala Harris, who is ready to step up to unite the party.
NBC's Yamiche Alcindor is traveling with the vice president tonight.
Vice President Harris is balancing defending President Biden and being ready to become the top of the ticket. Today, she spoke at a campaign fundraiser here in Massachusetts. She praised Biden and told donors, quote, "We are going to win this election."
But behind the scenes, NBC News is learning Harris's allies are weighing how to build their own campaign if the president exits the race.
Allie, the Democratic National Committee is still moving ahead with its plans to nominate the president.
That's right. Delegates will formally nominate the president on a virtual roll call the first week of August, but the door would still be open if he decided to drop out after that. Jose?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.